And thanks to all of you who have taken some time here on this Friday night. Let me just share a couple things with you here. This is our disclaimer. You've all seen this before many times. As far as the agenda, I don't want to spend a lot of time tonight going over things that you already know. Really, the hardest thing is going to be this new sector rotation strategy, which is what I've been working on for the last couple of months. Actually, last 4 months. I'm also going to talk a little bit about these indicators that I use in the strategy, particularly the VTI, which I use as a trigger, and also the volume indicators here that both money flow and volume. So I'm using the VTI as a trigger, and the volume and money flow indicators to confirm. Okay, that the institutions are begun to dump stock. Okay, so money's moving from the strong hands into the weak hands right now as we speak. All right, why do I want you to focus? Even though this is why focus on the new strategy, what I'm really saying is, why do I want you to focus on the new strategy? Okay, and here's the deal. Okay. One of the things I noticed this past summer, see, during the summer when that market was kind of moving sideways, okay, a lot of guys were sitting there writing different kinds of things and whatnot. No, I was busy doing a lot of research, okay, and one of the things that I noticed was that as the market was moving sideways, a lot of sectors, some sectors were moving more than others. Okay, the overall market wasn't going anywhere, but the sectors, some sectors were really going pretty good. And the second thing I noticed was that the strong sectors outgained those weak guys, okay, significantly. Okay, it wasn't just close; it was big time. So that kind of caught my interest, and I started to do even more and more work on this sector rotation strategy. See if I can identify which sectors are moving and which ones are not. See, if you focus on an index like the Dow or the S&P 500, okay, and you're just trading an index, you're going to get whatever is in that index, okay? And it happens to be that there's some good stuff in there that's pushing it up, but there's a lot of junk in that that's holding it back down. For example, this recent rally, we see a lot of movement by the healthcare, by the banks and financials, but oh, by the way, if you're in healthcare, you're losing money right now, okay? Or food and drugs, you're not doing very well at all, okay? Or retail, not doing very well. So bottom line is that that's something that I really wanted to do a lot of research on, and then it brought to light that, well, in order to do that, I need to go ahead and break down these sectors and see if I can evaluate those things, and then I'll use sectors, the actual ETF, the sector ETFs, as a trading vehicle. What I did was I broke down the sectors into 24 groups, okay? And these are the sectors, okay? The autos, the banks, I won't go through them or whatever. You can take a look at them. They're going to be there. But it encompasses just about everything. And oh, by the way, there happens to be, for most of these things, there happens to be ETFs, positive ETFs for all of them. On the short side, there's not so much, okay? On the other hand, one of my things in the research basically I found was that some of these sectors on the short side just go right along with the market. In other words, they don't tend to outperform. For example, on the long side, we saw this happen in November with the banks and the financials. Yeah, they significantly outperformed. For example, the banking and financial was up, roughly 18-20%, where the overall Dow, S&P were up, about 6 and 8%. So, it pays to be in the right kinds of sectors. So what I've been doing is I've been evaluating a whole bunch of ETFs, some inverse, to try to find those that closely match the performance of these sectors, okay? And so far what I found, this is right now, it's just so far, the Select Spider ETFs and BlackRock iShares. They do a pretty good job. But once I decide on which ETFs I'm actually going to use, I'll publish those that list on the website, so you can kind of follow along. I don't want to spend too much time on these ETFs. Why trade just ETFs? They're easy to sell, easy to buy, just like trading stocks. No real difference and they are extremely well suited for my sector rotation strategy. Okay. All right, here's the basic strategy. All right, basic strategy says that when a VTI turns, so in other words, I spent probably 3 months developing that VTI. Okay, why am I focusing more on the VTI? Well, as I've told you over the last few months, the VTI tends to be more responsive. Okay, it tends to turn a day or two most of the time ahead of the DMI. As a matter of fact, I've never found a case yet over 5 years of going back where the VTI was late in turning. It outturned almost every indicator just about every time. But in order to confirm that, I'm using some volume and money flow indicators. Okay, so I'm going to wait for the VTI turn, look for it to be confirmed by volume and money flow, and then I'm going to stay in those ETFs as long as the VTI remains in the basically positive or in a trend mode, and exit these when the indicators start to weaken, or maybe we use a stop. Okay, number of ways that we can handle the exit. But and oh, by the way, while I introduce this strategy, I intend to give you the actual trades where I'm going to enter and exit a trade. So far, the only one, and it's not really a sector rotation strategy one that I'm into, is as we posted on the website, which was our gold trade, GDX, and I posted that. And as soon as we exit that, I'll let you know. But I don't anticipate exiting that for a while. All right, so here's the spiders, the SPY. And I just want to give you, I'm going to show you the DMI. This is the DMI, and you can see that on here's the days prior to the election. And you can see that the DMI turned here, but oh, by the way, the VTI turned here. Notice that? And our volume indicator, the P volume that that I teach in my PT class, that turned positive, but it wasn't for a day or so later that the actual DMI turned. But nevertheless, even using the old indicators, we still got into the SPY trade based on these indicators. Okay, but the VTI gave us an early indication that the market was going up. Now, a lot of guys focus too much, in my opinion, on the perfect indicator. I'm here to tell you, first of all, there's no perfect indicator. Okay, some are better than others. But when it comes to volume and money flow, don't get too hung up on these things, okay? Because when the market actually turns, look at these guys. Here's the P volume. Here's the VZO, another volume indicator. Here's one of my custom money flow indicators. Here's another one, the money flow 20. But you can see that when this market decided to start to move, all of them, all of the money flow indicators, no matter how you measured it, okay, they all gave confirming signals, okay? So don't get hung up that, oh, I don't have this, the VZO, or I don't have the money flow, I don't have Hank's custom indicators, okay? No, just use the ones that you got, they're going to tell you, okay? So between that and the website, I think we should be pretty good. All right, so you got the VTI, and now we talked about the money flow indicators that are going to use the difference. What I want to show you right now is this Composite S&P that we have. Let me see if I get that arrow back down in here again. Okay, there it is. This is a Composite S&P. Now, what this is I built this to reflect all of those sectors that I just showed you. Okay, so that's what that is. How come I can't move this guy anymore? I can't take it off. But the bottom line is that this first composite, and you can see that I think if you look at this price on this thing, up here, for some reason I can't drag this thing anymore, this arrow. But there's actually two sets of prices up in here. One is this composite S&P that I built, and then there's also the SPY overlay. So they're almost identical, okay, which gives me great confidence in the fact that I now have the ability to go ahead and build this thing with the based on sectors, okay. So this composite overlay is, or the composite S&P is the actual 24, a composite of those 24 sectors. And it, of course, matches the SPY, okay? And then I've got my regular indicators on there as well. All right, now, here's what's going on here with this thing. So anyhow, on the 8th of November, when I have okay, now we're back in business. On the 8th of November, where the VTI turns, okay, and I've confirmed by my money flow indicators and volume indicators, all right, what I'm going to do is I'm going to run my strong relative strength ranking report on all of these sectors, okay? And the sectors that I come up with are semiconductors, banks, transports, and technology lead the pack, okay? Now, I want to show you what I'm using as a discriminator here. Now, I'm going to show you what happens with semiconductors, but notice the trend score is 53 on this, which means that it is still in a little bit of a negative trend, but it's got a delta trend score of positive 33, which means that it's moving up rapidly. The banks are already in an uptrend. Transports are in an uptrend. And the materials down here are also in an uptrend with a huge delta trend score, okay, 106. This is one of the keys to look for, is this these large delta trend scores when I'm trying to identify the sectors. I want sectors that are strong, which is what this report's telling me, and oh, by the way, they're moving up, okay? So now, keep that in mind. So here's the semis. Look what happened with them, okay? Here's the banks. You see, obviously, what happened with them. They just shot up. And now take a look. This is the thing that you really want to go ahead and focus on, is why it pays to be in these sectors, okay? See, there's a couple of things that you should be looking at in these things. Once we see the market turn, like here, we've identified this turn. So the first thing we want to do is know that the market is turning, okay? Then the second most important thing is to be in the right sectors, okay? Why? Because if you're in the right sectors, using sector ETFs, you're going to outperform the basic index that's moving up, okay? So we're looking at that S&P, or the composite S&P, but then we're actually going to, instead of being in the total index, even though the index is moving up, and it moved up, 6-8%, no, we want to be in the very best. We don't want to be in the junk, okay? So if we just go ahead and stay in the semis, and we stay in the banks, okay, look at the percentage returns that we're getting on this thing. No, it's not 8%. It's more like 20-some percent, okay? If we look at the transports, boy, that's a pretty nice move from 23 to 27 and change, okay? So we're identifying the right sectors. Here's the material sector. Look at what happened with this thing. It moves from 11 and change to up here 13 and change, so a nice move on that. Notice, too, that the higher the strength, the larger the move, okay? One thing you should note about the materials, now material sector includes gold, okay? It includes gold, right? And even though gold, here's gold chart, okay? So even though gold was dropping during this period of time, the material sector had to carry gold, okay? And it still did pretty good, okay? So, here's a case where clearly, the sector was going up, even though gold was not. Okay, so now on the downside, let's just take mental note that if you stayed in those sectors here, you were getting a return, somewhere between 16 and 22, 24%, okay? All right, now here's the down period of time. In other words, we know that the VTI turned down here in the 9th of September. It was confirmed by our money flow indicators and our volume indicators, okay? And even though the composite S&P didn't do very much, okay, but it was identified as being a down period in the market, okay? So now on the 9th, we're just simply going to go and run our sector report, and it tells us, okay, what you want to do is be shorting the food and drug, the media, the service, and healthcare. Okay, those are the top guys. Now notice that food and drug was already in a negative trend, had a pretty nice delta trend score down. Media not as much. Okay, it was in a little bit down, but no big down trend score. Excuse me. Service industry was on a trend with a nice downtrend score. So certainly, clearly, we got to be in the foods and the service, but I'll show you the media as well. Okay. All right. So those were our weakest sectors, and if we did that, we can see that on the 9th here, you can see what food and drug did. And oh, by the way, the thing that we want to see too is the VTI go into the trend mode, which is below the 30 level. And man, there's nothing greater than being in shorting a stock and being in something that the VTI is below 30 and telling you, don't worry about a thing, keep your hand off that cover button, just let her move down. Okay, so here's the media. You can see the media, what that did. That was the one, remember, that was number 2, but it wasn't so much in a trend. And the services, wow, look at this guy, man. How'd you like to, be aware of that? Up around here, 46, 45, down to here, 30. So, just on that. Now, this is during a period of time when the market was not doing anything. Remember, this was a very frustrating point in time for these couple of months as we were leading up here to the election. But clearly, if you were in services, short services, it really paid off. So let's suppose that we averaged 10% on services during that period of time, okay? So, or services and our other two. Let's say we call it 9-10% overall for that period of time in the market. And oh, by the way, here's healthcare. That was our number 4 pick, and whatever, you can see what happened on that. Again, another a really nice move, close to 20%. But let's call it overall for, say you invested in those top 4 sectors, the weakest sectors, even though some of them were up 20%, well, let's call it 10% return, okay? All right, so now we go to the latter part of the summer, okay? Now our S&P was starting to move up in June, okay? We see that the VTI turned positive, okay? Confirmed by our money flow indicators and our VZO. So now the market has a positive bias, okay? So we're going to run the sector report here, and when we do it on the 29th, which was the first day, one of the things we noticed here was that again, this is strong. Notice that the trend scores, the relative strength ranking for these top guys was up here at 8, 7, and what? That's pretty strong. That's telling us these are pretty strong guys, even though they were in a downtrend. Notice too that when I run this report, there's only one guy that stands out, and that's the telecoms. Is the only one in the whole list that had a positive trend score. So that would be my pick. Okay, that's the pick right there. So I would have bought it on the 29th. Only one, and I'd be waiting for some of these other guys to show me that, hey, this market is, I have a rough time. It's just like right now. I have a rough time shorting this market with so many sectors being, and here they're negative. And right now, so many sectors are still positive, so I have a rough time. But clearly, given the fact that we got a signal from the VTI and confirmed by the telecoms is where I want to be. So if we go ahead and we did that, you can see what happened with the telecoms. Wow, another really nice place to be in the telecoms. Oh, by the way, notice that the telecoms were already in an uptrend. VTI was above the 70 level here. Okay, so but let's wait. In other words, we know that the market is just starting to turn positive. We saw that by the report. So we'll wait to the next day, okay, which was July the next trading day, July the 1st. Now we see that, gee whiz, this changed considerably. Telecoms are in a strong trend. Now we got energy in there. We got materials now. And oh, by the way, the material sector had a real strong delta trend score, 106. The semis now are in an uptrend with a real strong delta trend score of 120. So clearly now, I already own the telecoms. Now I got to add the materials because of the trend scores and because of the delta trend scores, the strength in those. Those would be my picks. Okay, they're near the top of the list with big delta trend scores. Tell me that they're going up. So let's look at materials and semis. And as you would expect, there's the semis starting to rise very nicely. Okay, they did not start off in a trend, which is typical. Okay, remember, and all of a sudden, about a week or so later, they start going in, into the uptrend. Okay, so and we would stay in that until the indicators told us basically to get out. No, the trend is over. That's a key thing. The markets only trend about 30-40% of the time. The rest of the time, they're in consolidation. Okay, one of the things that you have to understand is that there's a couple of things about this strategy, or any strategy for that matter. You want to be able to identify trades early so that you can get in at the start of the trend, okay? You want to be in those right sectors, and you want to stay in the trend. But in terms of risk, because that market only trends about 30-40% of the time, the rest of the time it's consolidating, and during consolidations, you're going to get whipsawed. I mean, we're going to get whipsawed all over the place. So, and that means that your money is at risk. Hey, look, when you're in this situation where that VTI is positive and, oh, by the way, in the trend mode, just look at this. You sleep a lot better at night, okay? I see Gene said, I'm not seeing anything on my screen. Are you guys, just give me a yes if you're seeing things on the screen right now. You're still seeing things? Yes, okay, good. All right, Gene, I don't know what to tell you. You may have, I got plenty of yeses. So Gene, apparently you're the only guy. You might want to log out, come back in. Okay, I think that's something that you might want to try to do. Anyhow, that's the semis. And then you look at the materials, which was the other one that was a pick. Just look at these guys. Wow. So here's where we would have entered that trade. Actually, this line is where the first signal was. We would have entered this trade right here on the first, and you can see that we had a real nice move. Again, it went into the trend mode, and you're out of the trend mode at this point in time. But so just think about that now. So we've already had, during this period of time here in November, we picked up on our top sectors about say 20%. We picked up some more money here as a short, about 10%. And now if you just look at these things, it's probably about another 10% and whatever. Okay, call it, it's just about, it's a little over 10% if you average out all these sectors. Okay, so that's 10, 10, and 20. So we're up to about 40% right now just on these. Okay, as a minimum. All right. Now if we go ahead and we look at one other period that happened during the year, we can see the period in February. This was a nice run. This is probably one of the best periods of time that we had, trading periods we had. You could see that the VTI was diverging, telling us that something was going on. Price was basically flatlining here, but the divergence in the VTI told me, stand by, we're getting ready to go. Then the VTI turned positive. Was confirmed by all of our money flow indicators, and we're off to the races. So on the 12th, we're just going to do what we do. We run the sector report, okay? And it told us only one thing, okay, that the foods were the strongest sector. Remember, the market had been going down, okay? Market's been going down all during this period of time here, okay? All right, so the only sector that was, excuse me, strong was foods, okay? So right then and there, though, based on the VTI turn and confirmation, I got to buy foods, okay? And of course, this is what happened, all right? So we see that the food sector rises quite nicely, and a matter of fact, there's another 20% return or better, okay? But anyhow, that's for foods. Now that was on the 12th, but the market really starts getting rolling on the 16th. So now we have on the 16th we have household products, food, drug, and capital goods. Okay, so now we see that the trend scores on these guys are all positive, but the food and drug, notice the large delta trend score. I love these large delta trend scores, okay, when I see these guys, okay? So again, my strategy here would be to own all four of these, okay? There's only four on the list, why not own them all, all right? So, and this is what happens to these guys. So here's our household products. And there's our food and drug, and finally the capital goods. Okay, and you can see that all of these result in nice trades. The VTI goes into the trend mode. I'm going to tell you this on the website. Okay, so when I give you the price of entry and tell you when I'm entering in this thing and whatever, then in fact the VTI when it starts going into the trend, it's kind of like with gold right now. Okay, my gold. If you've been trading gold along with me, gold is moving now into a trend mode. Okay, I don't know about you guys, but today was another buying opportunity. I mentioned that today on the website. Any kind of pullback right now, buy. Okay, that's what I'm doing, buying. Okay. Why? Because I want to be in stocks that are in trend modes. Okay, notice this. Okay, it's telling me it's in a trend mode. Keep your hand off that sell button. Okay, all right. So that's basically the deal. This is why I'm so excited about this strategy. If you go ahead and you add this to the 40-something% that we had, and say add another 25% return from these guys. You're looking at returns here just on these four trades of, well over 50%. Matter of fact, in my research, and I've gone back 5 years, and again, a lot depends on the movement that you're going to get from the market. But clearly, by staying in the right sectors, you're going to outperform the indexes significantly. Okay, so anyhow. That's basically all I got. I hope you enjoyed the presentation. Got any questions for me? All right, Fred. Hey, how you doing, Fred? What trend score is good? None. I'm not. In other words, the only thing that I'm not really looking at trend score. You saw how I did this, okay? In other words, I just looked at it, and for example here, okay? In other words, I'm letting this algorithm tell me which sectors to be in, okay? The only thing I'm looking at is that these are in positive trends. I mean, they go from from minus 100 to plus 100. But be honest with you, I'm not looking at that. I'm keeping it simple. I'm not trying to overanalyze anything. I mean, I've done 5 years of looking at data here, and if fact is, if these guys, it's kind of like the Dean's List. If it's on the Dean's List, it's good. Okay, it's the same kind of a thing here. If I get the VTI turn, and it's confirmed by the money flow and volume indicators, I want to know which sectors are going to move. This already just tells me that these sectors are in already starting uptrends. You notice the day before they were in downtrends, but oh, by the way, this guy's making a large move. I like large delta trend scores. In other words, anything say above 50. Anything above 100 is very unusual, and the only time you really see that is when, you know, something's really kicking this thing in the butt. But anyhow, okay. Hope that answers your question. But don't try to overanalyze it. Okay. Don't. That's that's probably the worst thing you could do. Let's see, I'm not sure who X Melvin is. Sorry about that, but is the strong relative strength ranking report proprietary? Okay, yeah, it is. But I'm going to put this thing on I'm going to put it on the website for you guys when I buy. This is what, in other words, what I'm telling you is, I'm using this, okay, I am using this to manage my portfolio. As a matter of fact, when I showed the results of this thing to my son, you know, my son is a pretty wealthy guy. He has given me a significant amount of money, a lot of money, okay, to manage, and I intend to manage this thing, his portfolio with this on the basis of this. Okay. Oh, Marcel, I'm sorry. Okay, great. Okay. Do we have does everybody get the gist of this thing? Is everybody kind of comfortable with it? Okay. Hey, Brian, how's your dad? I hope that everything's good. I hope you share this with him. And I haven't seen him over the Christmas, but anyhow. Okay, guys, that's about all I've got for you. It's pretty simple. I mean, it's really simple strategy, and I intend sharing this thing with you on the website to show you, you know, how this thing works, and I'll show you my entry and exit points. I know that you know, over the last few years, many of you have asked for this kind of a thing. You know, this is why I tried to accommodate. I know a lot of you just don't like the day trade, but it's very important to, you know, I mean, if you can get 50% returns on your money, and just by, say, making, you know, these 4 trades a year, it's very, you know, and I'm finding that to be fairly typical. There's some years where it's been even more than that. But anyhow, this is something that I hope you'll at least be aware of, investigate, pay attention when I talk to you about it on the website. Okay, so. All right, Sanjay, right now, no, the VTI is not something I do put the VTI on for the Dow on the website. Okay, so you'll know what's going on. In the future, I might actually put it on there. You know, depending on how things go with this, I may actually put it onto the S&P. But for right now, the Dow and the S&P, you know, the VTI is it's pretty good for both. Okay. Okay, thanks so much, and I hope that you all get out there and enjoy this weekend and spend time with your family, and especially if you have a grandkid visiting or whatever, take them out to and spoil the hell out of them. Okay, take care. I love you guys. All right, bye-bye.
Okay, everybody, before you sign off, those that had talked about wanting an online class, anybody that would like one, just send an email to online@themarket101.com. Just ONLINE @themarket101.com, and we'll compile a list so that we'll have the people available when Hank gets around to getting a class together for online. I want to thank everybody for logging in and watching this. I hope you're enjoying it as much as I have. And hopefully we can all make money in the new year. Take care and good night.